Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another ZD Toys 1/10 scale Marvel figure unboxing and review. Today we are taking a look at their first figure in the classic Venom series. It's none other than Venom. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, it is super striking. The entire thing is done in this metallic purplish blue. Off to one side, an artistic style image of Venom. Big honking teeth, some saliva strands, his tongue waggling around down below, and in the background, some Venom tendrils. Down below, Venom with a raised print done in metallic silver. Then up top, Venom, real name Eddie Brock, and 1/10 scale classic Venom series. Kinda weird they didn't call it classic symbiote series, cause the next figure in the line is Carnage. And he is a symbiote, he's not a Venom. Does it really matter? No, it's just semantics, but up top, classic Venom series, Marvel Venom, and you also have more metallic finish and a bunch of tendrils. But on the back, this is getting me really excited, some actual figure photography. We've got a couple of turnarounds of Venom and his accessories, and a big honkin' shot of Venom with all of his tendrils and this huge axe. Then down below, all the warnings and legal info. Unfortunately, they're not in English, so I can't read them. Normally I would do a snap transition, but there's no need to. It literally just opens up like a book. The front cover is held on with two magnets. As for Venom himself, he is imprisoned in a plastic clam tray, and this guy's a big beefy boy. For 1/10 scale, he is huge. But quite surprisingly, rather lightweight, and I can already tell you, I'm not loving this. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, it's kinda similar to ZD Toys' usual bases, but just a heck of a lot larger, because Venom, he has a much bigger footprint. It's hexagonal. We've got that image from the front of the box that I really liked up on top, so yeah, I really like it here as well. Venom, it's nice and thin and low profile, so it doesn't add a ton of height in the display. Then up top, a multi-jointed flight pole arm and a spring-loaded waist clamp. Although it's quite large, because once again, Venom himself is pretty chunky, so to go around his waist, it did have to be bigger. As for head sculpts, we do get two of them. Is it just me, or does this head sculpt kind of scream Ultimate Spidey Venom? And I'm not complaining, I really like that design for Eddie. His eyes are quite big, they're the right shape, and his head is kind of wide. He does have a smaller tongue and multiple rows of teeth. They look all kinds of nasty. Plus the furrowed brow, it makes this head sculpt look super mean. Whereas this one with the classic Venom tongue, oh, I love this one too. There's some texture up top, and the pearlescent white for the eyes versus the stark white for the teeth. A really nice contrast. Alright, tendril time. Sit down, buckle up. We're going to be here forever. We're going to go through every single tendril. No, of course not. We're going to go through these two, and the rest of them you'll see on Venom when we get him out here. I mean, there's no real point going through every single one of them here and now. They're the same thing. Some of them are just smaller and some of them are just bigger. We do have blades up top with this feathering of lighter blue, especially in the middle. Then for the tendril section, there is a ton of texture, and I like the flow. But unfortunately, they're not wired, they're fixed in position. So when you plug them in, what you see is unfortunately what you get. They are also keyed, so you can't rotate them. When you plug them in, they are locked in place, you rotate them, and they will pop out of the body. Now you could maybe heat them and then pose them, but I don't know if that's really a viable option. Sometimes that works, but other times they will go back to their original position. Oh, now this is sick. It's a huge honkin' blade, just like the blades on the tendrils, but so much bigger. We've got holes in it, and it looks like it's forming out of his hand. I love the paint application with that blue, all the matching, like I just said, but unfortunately, it feels so freaking cheap. The one thing that lets this weapon down is how it feels in hand. It kind of feels like dollar store plastic, and to me, That's just not good enough, especially for such a large weapon. And lastly, some open palm spiky nailed hands with a decent level of vein work and texture. They look like creepy Venom hands. And some closed fists as well. But something's missing, did you say? Yeah, you're right, the white square. Where is the white square? Now, he's got the spider logo on his chest, and this is a Venom based off no particular look. It's part of their classic Venom series. So if it's a classic look for Venom, I'm pretty sure those squares should be present. Maybe that's something you can paint on yourself, but I would rather them have just literally done that out of the box. What we are going to do now, though, is get Venom himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Oh, that's Venom alright, through and through, top to bottom. It's 100% Eddie Brock, and the icing on the cake, it's my favourite Venom design of all time. It looks just like Ultimate Spidey Venom. He's huge, he's got these big shoulders, but he's still really well proportioned. Now you see, ZD Toys, they're good at some very select things. They have an MO. The list of good stuff, sculpt work, paint applications, and proportions. All of which applies here. Then the list of bad stuff, which is equally as long, lack of articulation, visible ugliness, and lack of accessories. So you can already tell, this guy's not perfect. We have plenty to discuss. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the Venom head sculpt with the smaller of the two tongues. We will get the head sculpt with the big honking tongue out here and on the body in just a second. For now, I like how it sits on the body. It looks almost seamless. I mean, yes, there's a seam line, but from the front, it's very well integrated. His traps are huge, there's a bunch of musculature, and the skin tone and skin texture match between the sculpt and the body, a tick from me. Unfortunately though, because he pretty much has no neck, he also pretty much has no articulation. Also, his head sculpt is permanently looking up, so for posing, it's not ideal. Considering he is so tall, you would 100% want him looking down. But as it stands, the only way to do that is to lean him forward, which looks goofy as hell. Now, the reason why you're not getting a ton of range is because his head sculpt is actually sunken into the body. You could potentially Dremel out the front of that neck area, and maybe he could look down further, but as it stands, it is kinda locked in position. And with this head sculpt, it's even worse because his jaw is all the way open with this huge tongue and he's looking up way more. So yeah, ZD Toys, this guy definitely could have spent a little bit longer in the oven in the R&D department because having the neck permanently up, for me, is kind of a deal breaker. Now, this head sculpt is my favourite of the two, and if I was to have him in the collection, I guess I could hunch him forward, having him scream at Spidey, but spoiler alert for the upper torso, you can't really have him hunched forward because this is fixed in position. We will get there, it's coming, but I'm pretty sure the reason why it's fixed in position is twofold. Number one, they wanted to keep the sculpt completely smooth and not have any breaks in it. I understand, they're going for the artistry over the articulation. And number two, these stupid peg ports for the tendrils. We've got them down here, we've got them up here, and nothing to cover them. They're completely visible. Now, if you pop the tendrils on, okay, yes, that makes sense. Then it's gonna look like they're actually part of the body, but as it stands without them on, these gaping holes are so freaking ugly. He does, however, have some good musculature and vein work and skin texture, plus that metallic blue throughout the entire body is poppin'. As for the tendrils, though, yeah, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. These tendrils, they are so useless. I mean, okay, they look good plugged in like they formed out of his back and these blades are sick, but what is the shape of these? They add so much depth and they pretty much add no presence, at least in my opinion. This one is going straight down for whatever reason. The ones on the back are angled back, so you're never really going to be able to see them from the front. The only one that's super visible is this one. If they were all angled forward and you can pose them, okay, that would have looked fantastic. But as it stands, like I said, they add a ton of depth, like this one sticking straight back, and I don't think they're really worth the hassle. So if I ever end up displaying this guy with my classic Spidey figures, these tendrils, they're gonna be nowhere to be found. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but they really just don't float my boat. Maybe they will for you. Now, each of the peg ports are numbered. You can see a 1 on the inside and on the ledge for this one. And each of the tendrils also numbered, so you know exactly which peg port they plug into. Around the front, this guy is so bulky. His pecs huge. He's got defined abs, the musculature really well sculpted. Plus, on the surface, it genuinely looks gooey, like a symbiote should. There are some veins, then of course that big honkin' white spider symbol. And it's not just white, it's pearlescent, so when the light hits it, it glows a treat. Now the shoulders, also big, biceps, also big, but these elbow joints, unfortunately, they are big too. They are super visible. They could have done something very different, tried to integrate this a little bit better, but as it stands, those joints are super ugly. Also, his arms, they're sticking out permanently. We don't have a swivel at the bicep to swivel the hands or the arms or the forearm in, so yeah, sticking out at this angle, it's not ideal. Not ideal is pretty much the way I describe this entire figure. There are certain things it does really well. The size, the paint, the sculpted anatomy, the texture, but there are other things that literally just leave me scratching my head. Now, the legs do look better than the arms, and they go nice and straight up and down. They're not sticking out at a weird angle. Tick from me. The sculpt work is on point, and the paint application's stunning. Then coming down to his venomized feet, you can see all the individual spiky nails. And on the underside, there is a little bit of definition, but not as detailed as I was expecting. This, on the other hand, see what I did there? Hand, it's part of his hand. I am so sorry. I love this. It does have a ton of detail. We've discussed the tendrils, but now that we've plugged it on, it kinda looks like it's living and moving. It's formed out of his arm. That blade is striking with the bright blue, so as compared to those stupid tendrils, yes, I can absolutely see myself using this blade on Venom in the collection. For a quick side-by-side comparison, ZD Toys Venom on the left and ZD Toys Carnage on the right. That's right, I picked them both up. How could I not? I had to complete the set. Venom is bigger and beefier, but Carnage is a touch taller. Now, unfortunately, Venom is always looking up. You can see that plain as day, and Carnage, he kind of has the same issue. I mean, come on, doesn't this just look so freaking cool? Venom is this huge hulking monster. He absolutely towers over Marvel Legends. Now, I don't unfortunately have any classic Spideys or classic Venoms to compare him to, so hopefully PS4 Spidey and PS5 Miles, they've given you a rough idea how Venom will scale in your Marvel Legends display. If not, well, I'm pretty sure this will. It's Marvel Legends movie Venom, and he is tall in his own right, but compared to the ZD Toys one, because technically he is that 1/10 scale, yeah, he even towers over movie Venom. Going over articulation, I can already tell it's not going to be this guy's strong suit, the poor thing, but nevertheless, we do have to go through it. Also bear in mind, this is my personal copy, so I'm going to maybe be a little bit more careful. Starting off with the head sculpt, it's on this sunken neck connector with a ball joint on the inside. Looking forward and back a little, swivel and pivot side to side just a touch. The arms will go up to there on ratchets, going forward and back, no butterfly at the shoulder and no swivel at the bicep. Double bend at the elbow going to 90, plus a ball joint for the wrist peg. The torso, nothing. The legs do drop down for slightly more range, going forward to there, but they do tend to swivel out. Going up to there, we do have a swivel up here inside the hip area and a swivel at the upper thigh. Although when you use this one, the sculpt is broken up and it looks really ugly. Double bend at the knee going just past 90. Then for the ankle, a ball peg. Good for forward and back swivel and some pivot side to side. Wrapping up on ZD Toys Ultimate Spider-Man Venom. No, it's not Ultimate. It's comic book series Venom. Okay, wrapping up on ZD Toys comic book series Venom. Now, going into this, I was really excited. I love this design. He's big, he's huge, but you'll have already heard me say that. What you want to know is this guy worth getting? Well, the price point is lower. He's still good bang for your buck, but there are so many things which leave me scratching my head. I dig the sculpt and the proportions and the paint applications, but the articulation is kinda non-existent. It's pretty terrible. He's almost statuesque. Now, we do have a decent level of range of motion in some joints, but in others, like the torso, it's one big hunk of plastic. Not ideal. I like the head sculpt, but he's always looking up, which is very annoying. And those tendrils, you either have them on, going in all kinds of funky directions, or you have them off, and there are a heap of holes on his back, so it's kind of a lose-lose situation. You might like the tendrils, you might not care about the head sculpt looking up and the articulation, then the answer is, yes, this one is for you, go ahead and get him. However, if you do care about all those things and know that we don't have a 1/10 scale Spidey to scale with him, then maybe this one is a straight up skip. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.